The unexpected call. Commander Zora Chen slouched in the worn pilot's seat of her ship, the Stellar Wanderer, staring blankly at the sea of stars beyond the cockpit window. The vastness of space used to fill her with wonder and excitement. Now it just reminded her of how small and insignificant she felt. "Another day, another disappointment," she muttered, tossing aside a datapad displaying her dwindling bank account. Once a rising star in the Terran Space Force, Zara had been dishonorably discharged after a controversial mission gone wrong. Now she scraped by as a freelance cargo holder, taking whatever jobs she could find in the outer reaches of human-controlled space. The ship's computer chimed, startling her from her brooding. "Incoming transmission," the AI announced in its calm, modulated voice. "Origin, unknown. Classification, distress signal." Zara frowned, sitting up straighter. "Unknown origin. How is that possible? We're light years from any uncharted systems." "Signal appears to be using a previously undocumented transmission method," the AI replied. "Recommend caution." Curiosity piqued. Zara hesitated only a moment before saying, "Play it." The cockpit filled with a haunting, melodic sound that sent shivers down Zara's spine. It was like nothing she had ever heard before, a complex harmony of tones and vibrations that seemed to resonate on a cellular level. As she listened, transfixed, the sound gradually coalesced into recognizable words. "To any who can hear this message, we are the Lyrians, and we desperately need your help. Our world faces annihilation. We have sent this call across the stars in hope that someone, anyone, might answer. Please, you may be our last hope." The message repeated, cycling through what sounded like hundreds of different languages and communication methods. Zara sat in stunned silence as the implications sank in. "Computer," she said slowly, "analyze that signal. Is it genuine?" "Analysis complete," the AI responded after a moment. "Signal appears to be authentic. No signs of deception or artificial manipulation detected." Zora's mind raced. A genuine first contact situation with an unknown alien species. It was unprecedented. The rational part of her brain screamed that this was way above her pay grade, something for the Terran government or some megacorp to handle. But another part of her, the part that had driven her to join the Space Force in the first place, stirred to life. "Plot a course to the signal's origin," she ordered, her hands flying over the ship's controls. "Commander Chen," the AI cautioned, "I must advise against this course of action. We have insufficient data on the signal's origin or the nature of the threat these Lyrians face. Additionally, your ship is not equipped for first contact protocols or potential combat scenarios." Zara grinned, feeling more alive than she had in years. Noted, "Now plot that down course." As the Stellar Wanderer's engines hummed to life, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the precipice of something monumental. Whatever awaited her at the other end of that signal, it had to be better than the aimless existence she'd been living. Little did she know just how right, and how wrong, she would turn out to be. The journey to the signal's origin took weeks, even with the Stellar Wanderer's faster-than-light drive pushed to its limits. Zara spent the time obsessively analyzing the Lyrian distress call, trying to glean every possible bit of information from its complex harmonies. She also prepared as best she could for potential first contact scenarios, drawing on her military training and the ship's admittedly limited database on xenobiology and alien cultures. The more she studied, the more she realized just how woefully unprepared she was for this mission. "I must be out of my mind," she muttered to herself as she ran yet another systems check on her ship's meager weapons array. "I concur," the ship's AI chimed in helpfully. "However, we have now entered the star system from which the distress signal originates. Sensors are detecting a habitable planet with signs of advanced civilization." Zara's heart raced as she looked out at the alien world growing larger in her view screen. It was a breathtaking sight, swirling purple and green land masses surrounded by deep indigo oceans. But as they drew closer, she could see evidence of catastrophic damage. Massive storms raged across the planet's surface, and what looked like impact craters scared entire continents. "Life signs?" Zara asked, her voice tight. "Affirmative," the AI replied, "but readings are erratic and rapidly diminishing. Whatever calamity has befallen this world, it appears to be ongoing." Before Zara could respond, a new transmission cut through the ship's comm system. The melodic language of the Lyrians filled the cockpit once more, but this time it was underlaid with an unmistakable tone of desperation. "Unknown vessel," the voice said, the translator struggling to keep up, "you have answered our call. We thank you, but we must warn you, our world is dying. A cosmic anomaly of unimaginable power threatens to tear our planet apart. We have tried everything within our power to stop it, but we have failed. If you have come to help, we welcome you. If you have come to bear witness to our end, we ask only that you remember us." Zara's hands tightened on the controls. This was so far beyond anything she had anticipated. She was just one woman with a beaten-up cargo ship. What could she possibly do in the face of a planet-wide catastrophe? But as she looked down at that beautiful dying world, Zara knew she couldn't just turn away. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries, and now here she was, the first human to encounter an alien civilization in their moment of greatest need. "Like hell, I'm going to let them down," she growled, angling the stellar wanderer towards the planet's atmosphere. "Computer, broadcast on all frequencies. This is Commander Zara Chen of Earth. I've come to help. Just tell me what you need me to do." As the ship plunged into the turbulent skies of the alien world, Zara felt a fierce determination take hold. She might not have state-of-the-art technology or the backing of a government, but she had something the Lyrians desperately needed: the indomitable human spirit and the sheer stubborn refusal to give up in the face of impossible odds. Whatever challenges awaited her on the surface of this dying planet, Zara vowed to face them head-on. The fate of an entire species now rested in her hands, and she would be damned if she let them down. Little did she know that her actions in the coming hours would not only determine the fate of the Lyrians, but potentially reshape the future of humanity itself. Descent into chaos. As the stellar wanderer pierced through the roiling clouds of the Lyrian homeworld, Zara's knuckles turned white on the ship's controls. Warning klaxons blared as the vessel was buffeted by hurricane-force winds and pelted with debris. Hull integrity at 78% and falling, the ship's AI reported, its usual calm tone tinged with urgency. "Commander, I strongly advise aborting this descent. Our shields were not designed to withstand these conditions." Zara grit her teeth, fighting to keep the ship stable. "Not an option," she growled. "We didn't come all this way just to turn back now. Divert all non-essential power to the shields and give me manual control." The ship shuddered violently as Zara wrestled with the controls, relying on instinct and years of experience to navigate the treacherous atmosphere. Through gaps in the storm clouds, she caught glimpses of the devastation below. Entire cities reduced to rubble, vast chasms splitting the land, and strange, pulsing energy anomalies that defied explanation. "Incoming transmission," the AI announced. "Origin, planetary surface." "Put it through," Zara ordered, her eyes never leaving the chaotic view before her. The melodic voice of Illyrian filled the cockpit once more, struggling to be heard over the howling winds. "Unknown vessel, you must abort your descent immediately. The anomalies have become too unstable. It's not safe." "Little late for that," Zara muttered. Then, raising her voice, she replied, "This is Commander Chen. I hear you, but I'm committed now. Just give me coordinates for a safe landing zone, and I'll do the rest." There was a moment of stunned silence from the other end before the Lyrian responded, a note of awe in their voice. You're really doing this. Very well, brave one. Transmitting coordinates now. May the cosmic winds be at your back." With a destination locked in, Zara pushed the stellar wanderer to its limits. The ship groaned in protest as she weaved through debris fields and skirted the edges of swirling energy vortexes. More than once, Zara was certain they were done for, But somehow, they always managed to pull through at the last second. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the storms began to clear. Zara found herself flying over a vast, domed city that seemed to shimmer with an iridescent force field. As she approached, a section of the dome arised open, allowing the battered stellar wanderer to limp inside. The moment they crossed the threshold, the chaos of the outside world fell away. Zara let out a shaky breath as she guided her ship to a smooth landing in what appeared to be a massive hangar bay. As the engines powered down, Zara took stock of her surroundings. The hangar was a marvel of alien engineering, with sweeping organic architecture that seemed to blur the line between technology and nature. But signs of strain were evident even here. Cracks spider-webbed across the walls, and the air was thick with tension. "Well," Zara said, unbuckling her harness and standing on wobbly legs, "I guess this is it. First contact, no pressure or anything." She made her way to the airlock, pausing only to grab an emergency kit and her old service pistol. The A's voice stopped her just as she was about to cycle the door. "Commander Chen," it said, "I feel compelled to remind you that you are now the sole representative of humanity on an alien world. Your actions here could have far-reaching consequences for our entire species." Zara nodded grimly. "Believe me, I'm well aware. But right now, these people need help, and I'm all they've got. Whatever happens next, I'm going to do everything in my power to save them." With that, she stepped out of the airlock and into a new chapter of human history. The first thing that struck Zara as she emerged from her ship was the sheer alienness of her surroundings. The air shimmered with bioluminescent particles, casting everything in an ethereal glow. The very ground seemed alive, pulsing with subtle patterns that shifted beneath her feet. But it was the Lyrians themselves that took her breath away. A small group had gathered to meet her, and Zara found herself face to face with beings that defied easy description. They were vaguely humanoid in shape, but their bodies seemed to be composed of living crystal, refracting light in mesmerizing ways. Where a human would have eyes, the Lyrians had swirling vortexes of energy that somehow conveyed a depth of emotion beyond anything Zara had ever experienced. One of the Lyrians stepped forward, its crystalline form shifting in a way that Zara instinctively recognized as a gesture of greeting. When it spoke, its voice was the same haunting melody she had heard in the distress call, but now imbued with a sense of desperate hope. "Welcome, brave one," the Lyrian said, the words resonating in Zara's mind rather than her ears. "I am Silas, lead harmonizer of what remains of our people. You have our eternal gratitude for answering our call, but I fear you may have doomed yourself in the process." Zara straightened her posture, drawing on every scrap of diplomatic training she had. "I'm Commander Zara Chen of Earth," she replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I came here to help, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Tell me what's happening to your world." Silas's crystalline form dimmed slightly, a clear sign of distress. "It began with the discovery of what we thought was a cosmic gift, a source of limitless energy that would usher in a new golden age for our people. But when we attempted to harness it, something went terribly wrong." The Lyrian gestured towards a massive view screen that dominated one wall of the hangar. It flickered to life, showing a real-time view of the devastation outside the city's protective dome. Zara watched in horror as swirling vortexes of energy tore across the landscape, warping reality itself. "The anomalies are tears in the very fabric of space-time," Silas continued. "They're growing larger and more numerous by the hour. Our greatest minds have worked tirelessly to find a solution, but we've only managed to buy ourselves a little time with these protective domes. In a matter of days, perhaps hours, they will fail, and our entire species will be wiped from existence." Zara's mind raced, trying to process the scale of the catastrophe. "There has to be something we can do," she insisted. "What about evacuation? Surely some of your people could escape." Another Lyrian stepped forward, its form pulsing with what Zara interpreted as a mix of frustration and sorrow. "We have tried," it said, But the anomalies have made conventional space travel impossible. Any ship that attempts to leave the planet is torn apart by gravitational forces we cannot explain. We are trapped here, awaiting our doom. Zara frowned, a thought nagging at the back of her mind. But I made it through, she said slowly. My ship isn't anything special. It's just an old cargo holder. How did I manage to land when your own ships can't even take off? The Lyrians exchanged looks of surprise, their crystalline bodies shimmering with renewed energy. Silas turned back to Zara, hope radiating from its swirling eyes. Perhaps there is something unique about your vessel, or about you yourself. Something that allows you to navigate the chaos where we cannot. Before Zara could respond, the ground beneath them shuddered violently. Warning sirens blared as cracks spread across the hangar's walls. The dome is failing. One of the Lyrians cried out. The anomalies are growing too strong. Zara's training kicked in, and she found herself taking charge of the situation. Fias, she barked, I need access to all the data you have on these anomalies, and I want your best scientists and engineers to go over every inch of my ship. If there's something about it that can help us, we need to find it fast. The Lyrian nodded, its form vibrating with a mixture of fear and determination. It will be done, but what do you hope to accomplish? Zora's eyes blazed with fierce determination. I don't know yet, she admitted. But I do know this, humanity has faced its share of impossible situations, and we've always found a way through. Now it's time to see if we can work that same magic for your people. As the Lyrians scrambled to carry out her orders, Zara turned back to the view screen, watching the world outside tear itself apart. She had no idea if she could actually save these people, or if she was simply prolonging the inevitable. But one thing was certain, she wasn't going down without a fight. Race against time. The next few hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. Zara found herself at the center of a whirlwind of alien technology and concepts that pushed the limits of her understanding. The Lyrians, for their part, seemed both awed and perplexed by her presence, their crystalline forms flickering with a rainbow of emotions as they worked alongside her. In a vast chamber that served as the Lyrians' central command center, Zara pored over holographic displays showing the spread of the anomalies. The sight was terrifying, swirling vortexes of impossible energy that defied the laws of physics as she understood them. It's like watching reality itself unravel, she muttered, her brow furrowed in concentration. Silas, who hadn't left her side since their initial meeting, pulsed with agreement. That is an apt description, the Lyrian said. Our scientists believe the anomalies are actually tears in the fabric of space-time, created when we attempted to harness the energy source we discovered. Zora's mind raced, trying to connect the pieces of the puzzle. This energy source, what exactly was it? And where did you find it? Silas's form dimmed slightly, a clear sign of regret. We called it the cosmic heartbeat. It appeared in our solar system without warning, a swirling nexus of pure energy unlike anything we had ever encountered. Our greatest minds saw it as the key to transcending our physical limitations, to becoming true masters of time and space. But something went wrong, Zara finished, her voice grim. Yes, Silas confirmed. When we attempted to tap into its power, it reacted. The first anomalies appeared almost immediately, and they've been growing ever since. We managed to contain the heartbeat itself in a specialized chamber, but we can't shut it down or neutralize it. It's as if it has a will of its own. Zora's eyes widened at the implications. You're telling me this thing is sentient. Before Silas could respond, one of the Lyrian scientists burst into the room, its crystalline form vibrating with excitement. Commander Chen, it called out. We've made a discovery about your ship. Zara turned, hope flaring in her chest. What is it? What did you find? The scientist projected a holographic image of the stellar wanderer, highlighting its hull. Your vessel's outer plating contains trace amounts of an element we've never encountered before. It appears to have unique properties that allow it to interact with the anomalies without being torn apart. Zara frowned, confusion replacing her initial surge of hope. That's impossible. The Wanderer is just a standard cargo holder. There's nothing special about its hull. Perhaps not by your standards, Thylas interjected, its form pulsing with renewed energy. But to us, this element could be the key to our salvation. If we could replicate it, we might be able to create a device capable of neutralizing the cosmic heartbeat. For a moment, Zara allowed herself to feel a glimmer of hope, but then reality came crashing back down. Even if that's possible, she said, we don't have time to manufacture enough of this material to make a difference. The anomalies are spreading too fast. As if to emphasize her point, the entire chamber shuddered violently. Warning klaxons blared as cracks spread across the walls and ceiling. The protective dome is failing. One of the Lyrians cried out. We have minutes at most before it collapses completely. Panic threatened to overwhelm Zara, but she forced it down, her military training kicking in. We need to evacuate, she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. Get your people to my ship. It's the only thing we know can withstand the anomalies. Silas vibrated with distress. But the stellar Wanderer cannot hold all of us, and even if it could, where would we go? The anomalies have made space travel impossible. Zara's mind raced, grasping for a solution. Then suddenly, an idea struck her. Crazy, dangerous, and possibly suicidal, but it was all they had. The cosmic heartbeat, she said, her eyes blazing with determination. You said you have it contained, right? Well, what if instead of trying to neutralize it, we use it? The Lyrians stared at her in shock, their crystalline forms flickering with a mixture of fear and confusion. Use it? Thylas repeated. But how? Zara's words tumbled out in a rush as the plan formed in her mind. You said this thing reacted when you tried to harness its power. What if that's because you were going about it the wrong way? What if it's not just energy, but a gateway of some kind? She pointed to the holographic display of the planet. The anomalies are tears in space-time, right? Well, what if we could control those tears? Use them to open a portal to somewhere else, anywhere else. The Lyrian scientists exchanged looks of astonishment, their forms shimmering with a mixture of hope and skepticism. It's theoretically possible, one of them said slowly. But the energy required would be astronomical, and there's no guarantee we could control where the portal would lead. We could end up somewhere even more hostile than our current situation. It's a risk we'll have to take, Zara insisted, because right now, the alternative is certain death for all of you. Another violent tremor shook the chamber, more intense than the last. Pieces of the ceiling began to rain down around them. Silas's form pulsed with resolve. We have no choice, the Lyrian declared. What do you need us to do, Commander Chen? Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. First, we need to get to the chamber containing the cosmic heartbeat. Then, we'll need to integrate the element from my ship's hull into your containment technology. And we'll have to do it all while flying blind into God knows what. She looked around at the alien faces surrounding her, seeing in their swirling eyes a same mix of fear and determination she felt in her own heart. I know I'm asking the impossible, she said, but right now, the impossible is our only option. Are you with me? The Lyrian's crystalline forms shimmered in unison, a gesture Zara instinctively understood as agreement. Silas stepped forward, placing a glowing appendage on Zara's shoulder. Lead the way, Commander, the Lyrian said. We place our fate in your hands. As they raced through the crumbling corridors of the Lyrian citadel, alarms blaring all around them, Zara couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of the situation. Here she was, a washed-up human pilot, leading an alien species in a desperate bid for survival. She only hoped that the legendary human capacity for pulling off the impossible would be enough to save them all. Into the heart of chaos, the journey to the cosmic heartbeat's containment chamber was a harrowing gauntlet of collapsing tunnels and encroaching anomalies. Zara led the way, her years of combat training kicking in as she navigated the treacherous path. The Lyrians followed close behind, their crystalline forms pulsing with a mixture of fear and determination. As they ran, Silas filled Zara in on the details of their plan. "The containment chamber is at the very center of our citadel," the Lyrian explained. "It's surrounded by our most advanced shielding technology, but even that is beginning to fail." Zara nodded grimly. "And once we're inside, how do we interface your tech with the element from my ship?" One of the Lyrian scientists, who had introduced himself as Vex, chimed in. "We've prepared a device that should allow us to integrate the element into our containment field. But the process will be dangerous. The moment we begin, the heartbeat will likely react violently." "Of course it will," Zara muttered, because this wasn't crazy enough already. They rounded a corner and came face to face with their first major obstacle. A massive fissure had opened up in the corridor ahead, pulsing with the same otherworldly energy as the anomalies outside. Reality itself seemed to warp and twist around its edges. Zara skidded to a halt, throwing out an arm to stop the Lyrians behind her. "Okay, ideas, anyone?" Vex stepped forward, his crystalline form shimmering with concentration. "I believe I can generate a temporary bridge using our biophasic technology, but it will only last for a few seconds, and the process will drain me considerably." Zara did a quick head count of their group. "How many can cross at a time?" "2, maybe 3, Vex replied. "All right," Zara said, her mind racing. "Vex, you and I will go first with the integration device. Silas, you organize the rest into groups and send them across as fast as you can. If we're not all through in 2 minutes, go on without us." Silas's form pulsed with protest. "We can't leave you behind." Zara fixed the Lyrian with a steely gaze. "This isn't a debate. The mission comes first. Now, let's move." What followed was a nerve-wracking series of mad dashes across Vex's shimmering energy bridges. Zara's heart pounded in her ears as she watched the Lyrians scramble across the gap, all too aware of the precious seconds ticking away. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last group made it across just as the bridge flickered out of existence. They pressed on, the sounds of the Citadel's destruction growing louder with each passing moment. At last, they reached a massive set of doors emblazoned with swirling alien symbols. Silas stepped forward, placing a crystalline appendage against a glowing panel. The doors groaned open, revealing a sight that took Zara's breath away. The cosmic heartbeat hung suspended in the center of a vast spherical chamber. It was a swirling vortex of pure energy, pulsing with colors Zara had no names for. The air crackled with power, making her skin tingle and her hair stand on end. "By all the stars," she whispered, momentarily awestruck. Vex's urgent voice snapped her back to reality. "We must act quickly," the scientist said, already moving towards a complex array of equipment surrounding the heartbeat. "The containment field is failing. We have minutes at most." Zara shook herself and got to work. She helped Vex and the other Lyrian scientists integrate the element from her ship into their devices, following their instructions as best she could. The work was delicate and terrifyingly complex, made all the more difficult by the frequent tremors that shook the chamber. As they worked, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Every time she glanced at the cosmic heartbeat, she could have sworn its pulsing changed, as if it were reacting to their presence. Finally, after what felt like hours but couldn't have been more than 15 minutes, Vex announced, "It's ready. We can begin the activation sequence." Zara took a deep breath, looking around at the alien faces that had placed their trust in her. "All right," she said. "Let's do this. Vex, start it up. Everyone else, brace yourselves. No matter what happens, we stick to the plan." Vex's crystalline fingers danced over the controls, and the air in the chamber seemed to thicken with anticipation. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, all hell broke loose. The cosmic heartbeat flared with blinding intensity, its pulsing becoming rapid and erratic. The very fabric of reality around them began to warp and twist, creating a dizzying, kaleidoscopic effect. "It's working." Vexed shouted over the deafening roar that filled the chamber. The portal is forming, but I can't control its destination. Zara gritted her teeth, fighting to stay upright as the floor beneath them bucked and heaved. Just keep it stable, she yelled back. We'll deal with where we end up when we get there. The air in front of them began to ripple and tear, revealing glimpses of something beyond. Zara caught fleeting images of alien landscapes, swirling nebulae, and things her mind couldn't even begin to comprehend. Everyone, move, she ordered, gesturing towards the forming portal. Go, go, go. The Lyrians didn't need to be told twice. They surged forward, their crystalline bodies shimmering with fear and excitement as they plunged into the unknown. Zara held her position, making sure every last Lyrian made it through. The chamber was collapsing around her, great chunks of the ceiling raining down as the anomalies tore through the weakening containment field. Finally, only she and Attilas remained. The Lyrian turned to her, its form pulsing with a complexity of emotions Zara couldn't even begin to decipher. Thank you, Zaya said simply. Whatever happens next, know that you have given us hope. Zara managed a grim smile. Thank me when we're all safe. Now move your shiny ass through that portal. As Silas disappeared into the swirling vortex, Zara took one last look around the chamber. The cosmic heartbeat seemed to pulse in time with her own racing heart, as if acknowledging her in some ineffable way. Well, she muttered, it goes nothing. With that, Commander Zara Chen, the last human in a dying alien world, took a deep breath and stepped into the unknown. The universe stretched and twisted around her, reality itself seeming to unravel and reckon it in impossible ways. For an eternal instant, Zara felt as if she were everywhere and nowhere at once, her very essence scattered across the cosmos. Then, with a sensation like being turned inside out and snapped back into place, she found herself falling. Zara hit the ground hard, the impact driving the air from her lungs. For a moment, she lay there, gasping and disoriented. Then, slowly, she became aware of her surroundings. The air was thick and humid, filled with unfamiliar scents. A cacophony of alien sounds assaulted her ears, chirps, whistles, and low, rumbling roars that sent shivers down her spine. Groaning, Zara pushed herself to her feet and looked around. Her jaw dropped at the sight that greeted her. They stood in a vast jungle unlike anything she had ever seen. Towering trees with iridescent leaves stretched towards a sky filled with swirling, multicolored clouds. Strange, bioluminescent creatures flitted through the air, leaving trails of light in their wake. And all around her, the Lyrians were picking themselves up, their crystalline forms refracting the alien sunlight in dazzling patterns. Is everyone okay? Zara called out, her voice sounding oddly muffled in the dense atmosphere. Silas approached her, its form pulsing with what she had come to recognize as relief. We are all accounted for, the Lyrian said. Thanks to you, Commander Chen, our people have survived. Zara let out a shaky breath, the enormity of what they had just accomplished finally hitting her. They had done it. They had escaped a dying world and traveled somewhere. But as she looked around at the alien landscape, a new reality set in. They were stranded on an unknown planet, in an unknown part of the universe, with no way to get home. Well, she said, a wry smile tugging at her lips, I guess the hard part's just beginning. As if in answer, a massive, serpentine shape moved through the trees in the distance, letting out a roar that shook the very ground beneath their feet. Zara's hand went to her sidearm, and she found herself grinning despite the danger. This was it, a whole new world to explore, new challenges to face, and an entire alien species looking to her for leadership. It was terrifying. It was exhilarating. It was the adventure she had always dreamed of. All right, people, she called out, her voice strong and confident. Let's see what this place has to offer. Humanity and Lyrians together. I'd say the universe doesn't stand a chance. As the Lyrians gathered around her, their forms shimmering with a mixture of fear and excitement, Zara felt a surge of pride and determination. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Brave new world. The first few days on their new alien home were a whirlwind of discovery, danger, and desperate improvisation. Zara found herself thrust into the role of not just leader, but explorer, diplomat, and protector for both her Lyrian charges and herself. Their initial campsite, hastily established in a clearing near their arrival point, quickly became a hub of frenetic activity. Lyrian scientists worked tirelessly to analyze their new environment, while others focused on adapting their crystalline bodies to the unfamiliar atmosphere and gravity. Zara, for her part, fell back on her military survival training. She organized scouting parties, set up perimeter defenses, and began cataloging the various flora and fauna they encountered. It was exhausting, exhilarating work. On the morning of the fourth day, as Zara was reviewing a holographic map of their surroundings with Silas, a commotion at the edge of the camp drew their attention. Commander Chen, one of the Lyrian scouts, called out, its crystalline form vibrating with excitement. "We've made contact." Zara's hand instinctively went to her sidearm as she jogged over, Silas close behind. "Contact with what?" she demanded. "Hostile." The scout's form pulsed with what Zara had come to recognize as a negative. "No, not hostile. At least we don't think so. Well, you need to see for yourself." Rounding a massive phosphorescent tree, Zara came face to face with something she never could have imagined. Floating a few feet off the ground was what could only be described as a living cloud of light and mist. Tendrils of luminescent energy swirled within its amorphous form, and at its center, a cluster of glowing orbs regarded them with unmistakable intelligence. "Well," Zara breathed, momentarily at a loss for words. "That's new." The entity pulsed, and suddenly, Zara felt a presence in her mind, not invasive, but gentle, curious. Images and emotions flooded her consciousness. Welcome, curiosity, caution, hope. Beside her, Silas trembled with excitement. "Incredible," the Lyrian whispered. "A non-corporeal, psychic life form. The scientific implications are staggering." Zara nodded, still reeling from the mental contact. "Yeah, it's amazing. But more importantly, they don't seem to want to eat us. That's a win in my book." She took a cautious step forward, hands held out in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "Hello," she said, focusing her thoughts on feelings of friendship and non-aggression. "I'm Commander Zara Chen. We come in peace." The entity pulsed again, and this time, Zara got the distinct impression of amusement. More images flowed into her mind, vast cities of light and energy stretching across the planet, other entities like this one, but in a dizzying array of colors and forms, and underlying it all, a sense of ancient, unfathomable knowledge. "I think," Zara said slowly, "they're trying to tell us that we're not the first visitors they've had." Silas moved forward, its crystalline form shimmering with barely contained excitement. "Can you ask them about the cosmic heartbeat? About how we came to be here?" Zara nodded, concentrating on forming mental images of their journey, the dying Lyrian world, the anomalies, the desperate leap through the portal. She pushed the thoughts towards the entity, along with a sense of questioning. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Zara gasped as her mind was flooded with information, far too complex and alien for her to fully comprehend. But certain impressions stood out. A network of energy conduits spanning the universe. Nexus points where reality grew thin. Ancient beings who had once traveled these cosmic highways, shaping worlds in their wake. When the flood of images finally subsided, Zara found herself on her knees, breathing heavily. Silas was there in an instant, supporting her with a crystalline appendage. "Commander Chen, are you all right? What did you see?" Zara shook her head, trying to make sense of the swerving thoughts and images. "I'm not sure," she admitted, "but I think we've stumbled onto something big, really big." She looked up at the entity, which was now joined by several others of its kind, all pulsing with what she sensed was anticipation and excitement. They knew we were coming, Zara said, her voice filled with wonder. Or at least they knew someone would come eventually. I think we've been invited to join something ancient and vast. Silas's form shimmered with a mixture of awe and trepidation. What are you saying, Commander? Zara stood, her eyes never leaving the assembled entities. I'm saying that this isn't just some random planet we landed on. This is a way station, a crossroads between worlds. And these beings, they're the caretakers, the guardians of some kind of interstellar network. She turned to Silas, a grin spreading across her face despite the gravity of the situation. Do you realize what this means? The cosmic heartbeat, the anomalies, they weren't a mistake or an accident. They were a test, a key to unlock the door to this. Silas pulsed with a complexity of emotions Zara couldn't begin to decipher. But why us? Why now? Zara shrugged, still grinning. Why not us? Think about it. Your people discovered the heartbeat, and when things went sideways, the universe sent you a human to help out. We did the impossible together, Silas. Maybe that's exactly what the universe needs right now. The Lyrian was silent for a long moment, its crystalline form refracting the alien sunlight in dazzling patterns. Finally, it spoke. What you're suggesting, it's beyond anything we ever imagined. The implications for both our species, for the entire galaxy. I know, Zara said, her voice softening. It's terrifying. It's overwhelming. But it's also the greatest opportunity either of our peoples has ever been given. We can be part of something truly cosmic, Silas. We can explore the universe in ways we never dreamed possible. She turned back to the assembled entities, feeling their patient, ancient regard. The question is, she continued, are we brave enough to take that leap? Silas moved to stand beside her, its form pulsing with determination. You have led us this far, Commander Chen. If you believe this is our path, then the Lyrians will follow. Zara took a deep breath, acutely aware of the weight of the moment. Here she was, a once disgraced human pilot, standing on an alien world, about to make a decision that could alter the course of multiple civilizations. Well then, she said, her voice steady and clear. I guess there's only one thing left to say. She stepped forward, focusing all her thoughts on the entities before her, projecting as much determination and openness as she could muster. We accept your invitation, Zara declared. Humanity and Lyria stand ready to join your cosmic community. Let the adventure begin. The entities pulsed with blinding intensity, and Zara felt a surge of joy and welcome wash over her. As the light engulfed them, she caught a fleeting glimpse of wonders beyond imagination, countless worlds, civilizations, and possibilities stretching out across the cosmos. In that moment, Commander Zara Chen knew that the greatest chapter in human and Lyrian history was just beginning. And she, through a series of incredible events, had the honor of writing its opening lines. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor after all, and Zara couldn't wait to see what came next. Cosmic Horizons. In the months that followed their cosmic initiation, Zara and the Lyrians found themselves on a journey beyond their wildest dreams. The entities, whom they came to know as the Luminari, proved to be patient teachers and generous hosts. Under their guidance, Zara and her alien companions began to unravel the mysteries of the interstellar network they had stumbled upon. They learned that the planet they had arrived on, which the Luminari called Nexus Prime, was but one of countless way stations scattered throughout the galaxy. These way stations, they discovered, were connected by a web of energy conduits, the same phenomenon that had manifested as the cosmic heartbeat on the Lyrian homeworld. With the right knowledge and technology, these conduits could be used to traverse vast distances of space in the blink of an eye. But with this knowledge came responsibility. The Luminari made it clear that access to the network was a privilege, not a right. Those who used it were expected to act as stewards of the cosmos, helping to maintain the delicate balance between civilizations and fostering understanding between diverse species. For Zara, it was a crash course in xenodiplomacy and cosmic politics. She found herself mediating disputes between Lyrian factions, negotiating with other spacefaring races who visited Nexus Prime, and even venturing out to otherway stations on diplomatic missions. Through it all, she marveled at how her life had changed. Once, she had been a disgraced cargo pilot, scraping by on the fringes of human space. Now, she was an ambassador to the stars, helping to shape the future of multiple civilizations. One evening, as she stood on a balcony overlooking the bioluminescent jungles of Nexus Prime, Tyaz joined her. The Lyrian's crystalline form shimmered with contentment as they gazed at the alien moons rising in the sky. "Penny for your thoughts, Commander," Thylas asked, using one of the human idioms it had picked up from Zara. Zara chuckled. "Just thinking about how far we've come," she said, "and wondering what's next." Silas pulsed with curiosity. "You have something specific in mind?" Zara nodded, turning to face her friend. "I've been talking with the Luminary. They think it's time for us to take the next step, to bring our peoples, humans and Lyrians, fully into the galactic community." The Lyrian's form brightened with excitement. "You mean?" "Yep," Zara confirmed, grinning. "It's time to go home. Both homes, Earth and Lyria." The implications hung in the air between them. Return to their respective homeworlds, armed with the knowledge and technology they had gained. Introduce their people to the wider universe, with all its wonders and dangers. "It won't be easy," Silas said after a moment. "Our peoples may not be ready for such a monumental shift in their understanding of the cosmos." Zara nodded, her expression turning serious. "I know. It's going to be the challenge of a lifetime. But think about it, Silas. We have the chance to uplift our entire civilizations, to give them a future among the stars that they never could have imagined." She turned back to the alien landscape before them, her eyes reflecting the bioluminescent glow. "Besides," she added with a wry smile, "someone's got to tell them what we've been up to out here." Silas's form rippled with amusement. "Indeed, I imagine there will be quite a few shocked faces when Commander Zara Chen returns from her routine cargo run with an alien species and the keys to the universe in tow." Zara laughed, the sound carrying out over the jungle canopy. "Oh, to be a fly on the wall in Terran High Command when that report comes in." As their laughter faded, a comfortable silence fell between them. The weight of their impending mission settled on their shoulders, but it was a weight tempered by excitement and hope. Finally, Zara spoke again, her voice soft but filled with determination. "We're really doing this, aren't we? Changing the course of history for both our peoples." Silas extended a crystalline appendage, resting it gently on Zara's shoulder. "We are," the Lyrian confirmed, "and I can think of no one I'd rather have leading the way." Zara placed her hand over Silas's, feeling a warm hum of energy that always emanated from her friend's crystalline form. "Well then," she said, "I guess we better start packing. We've got a couple of civilizations to blow the minds of." As they turned to head back inside, Zara cast one last look at the alien sky above. Somewhere out there were Earth and Lyria, two worlds on the brink of a new era. And beyond them, countless other civilizations waiting to be discovered, challenges to be faced, wonders to be explored. The universe, Zara realized, had never felt bigger, or more full of possibility. With a smile on her face and determination in her heart, Commander Zara Chen stepped back into the Luminary Citadel. It was time to prepare for the next great adventure, the one that would bring humanity and the Lyrians into a new age of cosmic enlightenment. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Zara knew one thing for certain. With friends like Silas at her side and the indomitable spirit of both their peoples behind them, there was no obstacle they couldn't overcome. The stars were calling, and Zara Chen, once disgraced pilot turned cosmic ambassador, was ready to answer. The end and the beginning.